Welcome back to Shards and Shenanigans. We're your Misty Boys. My name's
Misty.
Christopher. We got
I'm
here.
Kyle.
Oh, hey Kyle. Hey Kyle. All right, all right. Well, I think we've got left off on a pretty intense part to leave off on last week. Kelsier approaching this Inquisitor for what seems to be maybe a battle.
Yep. The
We're ready.
literal end of chapter 33 was Kelsier saying, "Let's do it then."
Let's do it then. So let's do
And
it.
so in 34, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Got a snack here. Kind of short one.
Yeah, it's super short. Just a lot about fear from the Lord Ruler. He's fearing, is that the fear that he's caused is his biggest regret, and it's a tool of tyrants. But when the fate of the world's in question, you got to use all the tools at hand. So he's using fear now to get what he needs from these people. It's not how if you remember when he was starting off on this journey to figure some things out in these snacks, it's not what he was about at all. He didn't want people to fear him. He wanted
Right.
to be good, but we're seeing that that's not really working out for the guy.
Yeah, he wanted to be loved. It makes me think of Machiavelli and the Prince concept of two concepts of rule, love and fear. And Machiavelli pretty much states that in feudal times, like that is really the two overarching themes in a reign of a ruler. I think we had talked about it before. I was listening to one of the older ones the other day because we do that sometimes, and we were talking about how like the Lord Ruler will kind of make these. I don't know. I feel like he just makes excuses for his actions in some of these, where he's
Mm.
kind of like, trying to find or like as if he has an audience or someone else to kind of call him out. He doesn't, but he definitely is talking like, yeah, like I'm doing this for a good reason, and I know what's best. These are kind of slippery slopes, road to hell, paved with good intentions, stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah, little snack, wet my whistles, but let's be real. I came here for the meal. If I sat down at this restaurant, I'm ordering right away. Just get that bread and get that chips and salsa away.
Yeah,
Like,
we're ready
dude,
for this. We're ready for this meal.
Tango hombre.
Yep. So, it just jumps in 34 right away with dead and dying men are collapsing all around Kelsier and this Inquisitor. And so, and I love here that it's like, hey, all this crazy stuff's going on. And then, like, on its own line solo is an ash fell from the sky. And I think we've kind
Yeah.
of grown probably numb to the fact that, while this entire book has been happening, that's like the one constant, right? Is that, the ash is still going to fall, right? Doesn't
Ash
matter what's
mounts.
going on. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing to throw in here. Like, hey, yeah, it's still happening, all this crazy stuff, but you look up and what are you going to see? You got some ash coming down. So I just
Yeah.
kind of like that. I wanted to point that out.
Me too. Great call
Um,
out. Yeah, good catch.
Thank you. Kelsier is whipping out his daggers. He's got his daggers out, and he's fighting the Inquisitor, who's still got his axe, and they're going at it here. So this is hot and heavy in a fight, and I love here, and something that I wanted to point out too is some of the things that Kelsier is able to do as he's jumping around, pushing, pulling, and all flying through the air off soldiers, doing what he needs to do. He's able to plant both feet in the Inquisitor's face and kick off, which is like, if this Inquisitor, which obviously he's struggled against Inquisitors in multiple fights now, like, I just was kind of surprised that he was able to get that close to him this like right away and kick
Yeah.
his face with both of his feet.
Right.
So
right.
like I think it kind of shows the kind of level that Kelsier's at compared to what maybe a nobleborn Mistborn or certainly a Misty might be capable of. Like
Sure.
he is, I wouldn't have expected him to land a face kick with both feet on this Inquisitor's face on the second line of their fight. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I mean, yeah, it kind of calls out throughout the fight like a couple different metals that he's like using, and I mean, I know he burned some ATM like during the encounter, but yeah, I definitely didn't get the impression he started off with it, and it was more just like pure prowess. But I do remember, he's got a lot of metals in his body right now, and he's pulling on what seems to be an extraordinary amount of power. And there's a part later where we get some more critique, which is pretty awesome from Vin's perspective.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But yeah, man, wow, man, this is a great fight. Been thinking about this for a long time.
It's awesome. It was fun to read. And so Kelsier slams a nearby soldier into the Inquisitor, who's already kind of stunned from the kick to the face. And now he's stumbling around. He is throwing him into a nearby prison cart, and a line of blood ran down the creature's face and across its eye tattoos. But even though it's bleeding and it's kind of down right here, he looks up at Kelsier and he's still smiling. And so, I think this is the first time we've seen any kind of true maybe damage done to an Inquisitor to the point where we're drawing blood. So, certainly things are looking a little up in this fight so far, right?
Yeah.
And but he does get up and he rips the entire the prison cell basically off of the cart. And Kelsier's like, well, okay, well, my excitement of this guy bleeding didn't last.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Yeah, bloody hell. And so, bloody head, it's more like it. Heyo.
Yeah, totally.
So, they continue to fight. They're throwing shit at each other, and Kelsier, he throws this cage at Kelsier, and Kelsier finds himself inside of it, and then he like steel pushes on all of the cart, all of around him, and at like 360 degree, arc around his body. And as this cart's flipping through the air, he like threads the needle inside. It doesn't hit anything and just kind of maintains position. And then when he lands, the Inquisitor looks over and nods at Kelsier in like a sign of respect, which is just like, what is even happening here?
Yeah, it's definitely like Morpheus, Neo kind of Matrix level fight. Mr. Anderson that's the kind of vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, it's out of control and in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelsier explodes the cart off of him, and he is continuing to battle the Inquisitor here, and he's coming up for a head-on collision with the Inquisitor, and we're reminded here that that's not so good because this guy's he's got spikes in his head. He ends up, this group of soldiers comes up, and he realizes that that these soldiers that are armed with, or these archers that are armed with bows and arrows, like they're gonna be firing right into the crowd, and so he kind of ignores his fight with the Inquisitor and jumps down. And as they release their arrows, he's got all these broken pieces of the cart, like these steel and iron rods, that he is able to like float into the air and then like rip them in a windmill kind of fashion, right? Like rotate them in midair. So as the arrows are coming towards them, they're hitting these, flying fans that Kelsier's made and, fly off. And so he ends up saving a bunch of ska that way. And it's pretty cool. Unfortunately, the Inquisitor is, not super excited. Like he still wants to be obviously fighting Kelsier. So we're going to see that here in a bit, but the Ham and crew, right, he's got all these fighters with him. They've made their way kind of from the last cart up towards the first cart where Spook and Renault are. And, they're finally like, they're on their way to this final prison cart, and Kelsier's like excited. He's proud of Ham and, the people that he's got with him on this crew. The I guess Lord Ruler's army, or the like the soldiers that are still here, the guards, are visibly unsettled by the Ska rebels' determination.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so it's good to see that, hey, like we we might be in trouble here, is kind of, I think, what these people are thinking. Kelsier's men fought with passion, and that's obviously something he's tried to instill in them for a long time, is to convince them to fight and to give them that passion. And so Renault, who's in this lead cart with Spook, steps out, and unfortunately, our good old friend Ellen's back. And I mean, unfortunately, and like, hey, Ellen, what are you doing in the middle of a Mistborn Inquisitor fight, buddy?
Yeah, get out
and so
of there.
He's
love.
like, where's Valette? And Kelsier's like, are you kidding me with this kid? Like, he literally says, you're really starting to annoy me. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And so, Kelsier is thinking all this, but unfortunately, while he's kind of got this distraction, the Inquisitor throws and lands a blow with his axe into Renault's back, and the Khandra jerks and opens his eyes wide, and the Inquisitor kind of turns towards Ellen next, and Kelsier's debating what should I do here, and the thought that overcomes him is like, okay, she loves him. I got to do something here.
He like hesitates for a second, and then he thinks that as the Inquisitor's raising its axe to strike, it's good. Yeah, it's written well.
I mean, good on Kelsier here.
Overcoming his prejudice.
Yeah, and he steps in, stokes his steel, and ends up blasting the soldiers behind him, and he flies like a bullet towards the Inquisitor and crashed right into him as he was coming down with the axe. And so the axe gets kind of thrown away a few feet, and they hit their ground, and Kelsier basically starts to like choke this guy out on the ground, which again, awesome. I'm so surprised he's able to do all these things to this guy that was supposed to be like practically invincible,
Right.
So that's cool. And he notices that this thing is kind of fearing for its life, right? It's like grabbing Kelsier's hand. It's desperately trying to get Kelsier off of him. And he's thinking, like, he wouldn't be fighting like this if he was invincible, right? Like, or, couldn't be killed. Like, this guy, this thing wants to stay alive. And like, so he's encouraged by this thought. And so he finally looks over. He finally looks over at Ellen and is like, hey, she's fine. She wasn't on the barges with Renault. Like, get out of here. And so finally, Ellen runs off. And Kelsier's like, hey, you better appreciate this, Vin. Like, that's...
right.
I
can't believe I just saved a nobleman.
Yeah. Not usually his MO here. So, but Inquisitor's still down, being choked out, but he pulls Kelsier's hands apart and starts to smile at him again.
Yeah, so he is pretty strong.
Oh, super strong. And Kelsier looks over at Renault, who's leaning there, and Kelsier caught the Khandra's eyes and nods slightly. Ooh. And so, we are kind of seeing some, I think, kind of foreshadowing here specifically as we read on through this chapter 34 and into the next one, 35.
Easy to miss it there, though, in the moment.
I think so.
Things are going fast here. Like,
hot and heavy.
Reading this, I mean, like, through the audiobook, it just flies right through it. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss that.
Sure.
It's nice to actually read it. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. Kelsier yells at Ham to go, Renault's dead, go. And then you hear this rasping voice, Survivor.
Yeah.
And, Kelsier turns around and there's the Inquisitor coming at him again. And, he's like, must I kill some more Ska like you promised me a fight? And Kelsier's like, I didn't say we were done, bitch. Yeah. Okay, he didn't say the bitch part, but it would have been pretty cool if he did.
He's confident and he's like ready to take this guy on, It's awesome. I mean, I think you were saying before, like, this guy is like supposed to be like invincible, and I think it's just the most crippling thing about fighting the Inquisitors has been dispelled by Marsh and by his sacrifice, and like he believes, and I think even if you have that nagging like little pit of doubt still inside of you, you're not gonna fly in the air full force to Inquisitor's face. And so, like, almost, I think, like, the Inquisitor here is, like, a little incredulous at, like, someone even thinks it's possible.
Right.
Let alone like, Kelsier just fully believing, fully committing, and that kind of pushing him over this like wall or hurdle that he has like in fighting them. So yeah, I love it because it says there right at the end of this perspective, he'd always wanted to see if he could take an Inquisitor. So like,
he's excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and he thinks it's possible.
Yeah,
and so he's willing to give it a shot here, and perspective change.
So we're in Vin's perspective now, and she is looking over the crowd. She's a little far away. I think if I remember correctly, it was like a couple blocks. I don't think she was on the rooftops like right there.
Yeah.
I think she's a little further away, and she's thinking, oh, I thought I saw Elend. And, Doxson's like, oh, that you're ridiculous. And she's like, oh, yeah, I probably am ridiculous, but I'm going to get a better view. And so she...
I'm still going to check that out.
Yeah. And so she's like going down an alleyway, and we do get reminded by Doxson that like, hey, that Inquisitor's looking for you. Like that's been his goal ever since he's kind of known about you. And so like, just be careful. And so I think that's just a good reminder here from Doxson. And
yeah, he cares about her safety too. It's like, Doxson's great. Love me some Dox.
Yeah, he's like the granddad of the group almost in a weird way. Like
Granddad Moneybags.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. And so,
Mr. Warbucks.
Vin is saying, hey, Renault's down. She's kind of just observing at this point. I don't know how much soothing or riding she's doing, but
just looks like tin. Burning
she's
tin.
calling it out, And so Doxson says here, like, that may or may not be fatal for him. I don't know a lot about Khandra. And Vin's like, Khandra? Like she's clearly not in on what's going on with him yet.
We're a couple steps ahead of Vin here for sure.
I think so. And so she's excited that, like, hey, all the prisoners are free. There's a lot of ska out there. Ham's free. Spook's gone too. And what about Kel? Doxson says, and he goes, oh, he's still fighting the Inquisitor. And then so another quick perspective change. We're going to be flopping back and forth here. And Kelsier is still fighting the Inquisitor. He's, punching this guy in the stomach. The Inquisitor's growling at him, slaps Kelsier across the face, which knocks Kelsier down. And Kelsier's thinking, like, man, what does it take to kill this guy? And so he gets back up. Inquisitors coming at him, and like they are just continuing to fight. All these people are just kind of standing around watching, right? All these soldiers that are supposed to be rounding up the ska, or the former prisoners, or just keeping the other ska back. Like they're all just kind of standing there.
Everyone's watching,
kind of awestruck, right? Like no one's seen something like this before. And Kelsier's acknowledging here that, like, hey, this Inquisitor is stronger than I am, but strength isn't everything. And so,
what's he up to?
It gets crazy here. So Kelsier starts to grab out every little piece of metal he can, and he starts to kind of basically flow it in this, what I imagine as this like orb, this giant circle of metals, like little particulates of metals or buttons or, hinges, whatever he can get. And it's just floating them around this guy in this big circle. And, every once in a while he's throwing one in at him, and they're both at this point ATM enhanced. And so,
yes.
They have, like, this Inquisitor can see what's coming at him before it happens. But when you've got, 15, 20 different things all kind of floating around you, maybe more, and like this one's coming, that one's coming, it's hard to keep track of. And that's what Kelsier's banking on here. And so it's kind of disorienting the Inquisitor. Perspective change back to Vin. Doxson's trying to climb up to wherever she is, or maybe fall down or climb down from where she is. I don't know. And he's like, hey, if I fall, like, pull on my belt buckle so I don't fall, like, which I think is just kind of cute in a weird way. Like,
help me, Vin.
Yeah.
You're a Mistborn. Use my belt buckle.
Yeah. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's too damn bad.
Exactly.
And so Kelsier, Vin's impressed with Kelsier. She's thinking, like, wow, like, I'm watching something that's incredible. I underestimated him. Like, I assumed because he had all the skills that he wasn't really an expert in any single one. but she's realizing that like pushing and pulling with expert control, that's his like bread and butter. And that's what he's the best. Iron and steel are the metals he trained her in. And so maybe Kelsier, understood what he was doing all along, which obviously is what we're going to see here in the future. So perspective change, back to the fight. He's spinning all these metals around the Inquisitor, and he's every once in a while shooting some of the large pieces of metal kind of over the Inquisitor and like pushing down against them and trying to strike them. And an iron bar hits the Inquisitor in the face. He stumbles. He's got more blood. A helmet hits him. He's continuing to stumble. And Kelsier gets mad here, and he's screaming, did you kill Marsh? Were you there when I was condemned? And he's, obviously getting riled up. And, the Inquisitor's struggling here. He's got like this warning hand out trying to kind of keep these things away. And he's limping backward, and the creature growls. And he's got this like big urge of like kind of strength come out of him, and all of the metal and all the people standing by, all the soldiers, they all get shot away. And Kelsier lets go of everything, dashes forward, super cool, scoops up a loose cobblestone,
just a rock,
and swings it
so good.
With got a sputer. Which, if you remember, a rock is the same thing that Sayes used on an Inquisitor on the roof of Krennic Shaw, right?
Like taking notes from Sayes, very heavy
it's a
style,
good move.
baby. Let's go.
And so he hits the Inquisitor right in the eye and starts just beating this guy's face in as he's yelling, right?
Yeah.
And so the Inquisitor's howling in pain, and he's like reaching up, trying to get it stopped. And next thing you know, like the Inquisitor's kind of stuck. His head's not moving. He's still writhing around. But Kelsier realized he's hammered his head in using the spikes into the wood cart behind him.
It's so awesome.
Which is an insane visual to think about.
Oh, yeah.
And,
oh, my God.
Kelsier smiled because he knows like he's got him here, like while he's struggling to pull free. And Kelsier leans over, flips over a corpse, grabs the obsidian axe off the ground, and then it's glittering in the red sunlight.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, I'm glad you talked me into this fight, buddy." And then he swung it, and next thing you know, the axe head went right through that Inquisitor's neck and into the wood, into his neck, and then into the wood behind.
Yeah, it's like T-ball. It's right there for him.
Yep, swing away. Swing away.
Oh, it's so good. God.
And so Inquisitor's gone, right? His head's right where it was, tacked into the wood like a brad nailer, and his body slumps to the ground. And, people like all around are just like, in awe, right? People are whispering like the survivor, like he killed an Inquisitor. And then next thing you know, this is when like the ominous kind of part of this starts. Like people are chanting and they're excited, but then they're shouting his name. They're starting to press in, and then next thing you know, like a cloud moving before the sun. It says, the emotions of everybody stifles, and the Lord Ruler's coming. His black carriage crested the hill and is coming down to them. And so Vin's seeing this perspective change to her. She's seeing all this happen. She's feeling
the wave.
She's
of
feeling
depression.
the same thing. Same thing from Lord Ruler. And she's felt this before. And Kelsier kind of steps away from the cart and moves to face the Lord Ruler's cart as it's coming down. And Dockson's like, "Yeah, this is it. Like, this is what he's been waiting for, right? He's wanted this chance to face the Lord Ruler." And, Vin's like, "No, this is crazy. Like, did he even have the 11th medal? Did he bring it?" And we get our first good description of the Lord Ruler. And he steps out of the carriage. And it's, what is it? A man. Tall man. Younger than she expected. Younger than Kelsier in appearance. And he's got this, like, ominous black coat that he's wearing. It reaches all the way down to the ground. And he's got this black vest, but it's got all these white marks on it. And his fingers are glittering with rings, just like he was claimed to have. I think Ellen's the one that told us that he wears rings.
Wears lots
just
of
to
rings.
kind of prove that, like, hey, it doesn't bother me. Like, I can wear whatever I want. Like, I'm not
afraid
scared
of anybody.
So,
it says he's handsome. Jet black
handsome
hair,
guy.
pale skin.
Yeah,
I've heard some other content creators out there. They're Lord Ruler's hot. He's hot. That's like
what's
Either hot or you're not, I guess.
What's that game? I guess he wasn't handsome. Now that I'm thinking of it, but what's there's a movie where he's like a video game producer, but he lives in his grandma's house.
Oh, you're talking about Grandma's Boy, or
Is it Grandma's Boy?
yeah, and it's like a comedy, and the guy's like,
yeah. And so I'm thinking of like
nuggets.
Yeah, the gamer, like the guy that he worked for.
Yeah,
JP,
totally.
JP, because he wears the long dark coat, but I mean, a little more handsome than JP. I think.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, JP for sure. I love it.
Yeah,
because
JP
we're not Lord Ruler fans. We don't want to say he's hot.
No. Yeah,
he's not.
And so before he can even get to Kelsier, one of Ham's thugs, he screams, "For my wife," and then another couple other ones yell, "For Lord Kelsier," and they all charge the Lord Ruler, and they ram a couple spears right through his chest. He just keeps walking. Not a big deal to this guy, right? Just keeps walking. These guys are kind
crazy.
of they're shocked, right? They're like, give me another spear, and they keep stabbing this guy, and he just continues forward unnoticed, like, hey, there's nothing going on. And the Lord Ruler stops, and with one of the spears almost touching Kelsier's chest, and so black ash is falling lightly around the two men, which I don't know. Most of the ash we've seen has been like gray or white, I would say, and so I think
so it's like
this is something
ash.
Different,
right? Interesting,
darker, and so everything's silent. And, Vin's thinking like, oh my God, Kelsier, you got to do something. And
use
the Lord Ruler
medal.
glances. Yeah. The Lord Ruler glances at the Inquisitor that Kelsier just killed, and he goes, "Those are very hard to replace." Like, like someone broke a copy machine at work, like
you've inconvenienced me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's got an accented voice that Vin's hearing. And the Lord Ruler says, "I killed you once." And Kelsier says, "You tried, but you can't kill me, Lord Tyrant. I represent that thing you've never been able to kill, no matter how hard you try. I am hope."
Yeah.
And the Lord Ruler just snorts and raises a casual arm and backhands Kelsier with a blow so powerful that Vin could hear the crack. And he lurches and spins, and he's got blood spraying from his face. And Vin's screaming now. And the Lord Ruler rips a spear from his own body and slams it down through Kelsier's chest, and then just says, "Let the executions begin." And he turned around, and just starts walking, rips out the other spear in his chest, and just walks back towards his chariot. And so, chaos, just like immediate chaos, right? Like this square, or like the road that they're on, all the fighting's happening again. All these soldiers turn and are just, starting to basically murder all these ska. And Vin's looking, she sees all the blood hanging out or pooling around Kelsier, and she's screaming, "No, no, no!" And she jumps up and flies all the way there, lands right next to him. Kelsier's like entire left side of his face is gone from where this guy slapped him.
Correct.
Which is just like menacing.
Next level, dude. He's only got one
she
eye.
Screamed, yeah, dude, it's sick. In a bad way. Sickening, I should say. Not like, oh, sick, bro.
No, not sick, bro.
And she's screaming like, you said you couldn't be killed. What about your plans? And then she's very upset, obviously. And he's not moving. Ham comes up, kind of checks Kelsier, agrees, okay, he's gone. Time to go. And then the last thing we get in this chapter before the end of part 4 is Vin has a familiar friend coming back in her mind, Reen. And he's saying, "See, I told you he would leave you. I warned you. I promised you." And then that's the end of part 4.
Let's recap it, buddy. Yeah. Wow.
Pretty intense chapter. Not what I think most people reading this book, certainly not me, were expecting. But I think, I don't know, once you realize he's going to face off against this Lord Ruler, like, it's only going to go one of two ways, right? Like, there's two main outcomes, and it's like, okay, he's going to use this 11th medal, and he's figured it out, and that's his plan, or he's going to die. And so I think unfortunately that's what we see here, and
Yeah.
certainly sad, very very sad. Um, and you can see, I mean, it's sad for everybody, right? Like the ska that watched it happen, Kelsier's crew who knew him kind of the best,
Yeah.
but certainly for I think Vin, who's Kelsier took her in. It's been this light in her life, showing his abilities, her abilities. This teacher, this mentor, this friend. Someone to look up to, and not only teaching her, hey, this is how you steel push and iron pull, but also, hey, this is how you just be a good fucking human, Vin, and like this is how
Right.
you be a friend and a good crew member and a good teammate, and we're all in this together. So like she is devastated,
Yeah.
and she's getting sucked into that, like you left me, right? Like
Right.
um
Well,
and we'll touch on
Reen
that
and
more,
the
but
intrusive thoughts, like coming back, and it started when Ellen kind of broke up with her. She really started to backslide, and it just seems like it's more regression. Or I'm anticipating like, it's almost immediate. Like he's in there and just kind of stabbing her while she's down. This evil voice. So yeah. It's hard to see, and yeah, I mean, I remember the first time reading it, and I was like, I was so shocked, because I was convinced, like, for so long, I was like, ah, oh, Kelsier, he has got to be the hero of ages, like it's not the fucking Lord Ruler, it's Kelsier, and I was just convinced. So yeah, kind of got floored off my feet there. It's like, yeah, I don't know. What's the point? We read this whole book. We got invested in him just to get him taken away. But honestly, like, I loved and then reading it again too. I just felt the same way. Like, I loved how easy it was to love Kelsier as a character, and to overlook a lot of like not good things about him. Like he had some
oh yeah,
problems, and like he definitely let his perception of the world or history like kind of override even the truth sometimes.
mm,
Like you look at his perception of Mare until Vin like logicked it out to him, like, oh, they knew, Mare didn't give you up, like they knew because Mare was there, and that's why. And so like, but he was he was living his whole life like thinking that other way. So yeah, for such like someone with flaws, and someone I think is like a real, I don't know, I don't necessarily, can't say relatable. None of us have been through some of those terrible
mm,
things, but I think just someone that you could connect with, and then get them taken away. Yeah, Sanderson doing some damage to
yeah,
my
major
emotions
damage,
here. Emotional damage, dude.
yeah.
Yeah. I was
But
I'm hurting right there with Vin for sure.
I think outside of the sadness, we get to see some, I think, important story components here of like, hey, Inquisitors aren't invincible,
Yes.
and we're not the only ones that saw that, right? Like this entire square full of people of Ska saw that Kelsier killed this Inquisitor. Like that's not something that's easily going to be put to
Suppress.
rest, like,
Yeah.
suppressed. Like it happened and it's out. Like word's out that, hey,
Yeah.
these people that were basically demigods aren't invincible.
Yeah. We could stop him. Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah. And that fight, I mean, come on.
Oh my god. Yeah, like I liked your like description of it too, of like this orb. I also had like this kind of orb vibe, but to me it was like a whirling maelstrom of metal shards, and like swords and helmets and stuff. And it's kind of like almost encompassing him, and he's pulling and pushing like outside of himself, and like kind of
Mm.
dodging and letting it go by him, and that guy's just kind of caught up in it. Was how I envisioned it, but yeah, just like very theatrical part of the book, and just an amazing finisher. It was like Mortal Kombat. I mean,
Yeah.
it was out of control. So yeah, had to love it. I'm glad we know some of the fights in the book, some other amazing fights we've kind of gone through a little bit quicker, but that one was just such a
Yeah.
fun one. So I'm glad we
Oh,
dug it up.
incredibly fun.
Yeah.
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 So, R.I.P. Kelsier.
Yeah. R.I.P. R.I.P.
Gonna
man.
miss you, bud. Pour
Yeah.
one out for our homie on the block.
Yeah. Pouring out for Kelsier.
Yep.
Yeah. Heard. Or
But,
pour a nice tasty NA out as well. Or a
Yep.
little bit of water.
yeah,
Maybe
they
some,
could use it.
maybe,
It's pretty
maybe
dry
some
there.
ash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pour some ash out of your cup. Anyways.
Yep.
Yeah. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Kelsier. So,
Rest in metal.
rest in metallurgy. So, yeah, I mean, those are kind of my thoughts, and it's cool that we're clearing part 4 and into part 5, our home stretch, and we're certainly full in on the Sanderlanche, and I think we just kind of continue on to 35. Are you ready to rip it?
Dude, I'm gripping it, and I'm ready to rip it. Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
Let's huck over this frontier. That was a gnarly little cooler, but that Lanch is gaining speed, but we're just trying to make some smart decisions, keep it safe, make sure our turns are sharp. Good luck out there.
Yep. Good luck, everybody. See if you can hold on. So we are down at the chalet, and we got another snack. And the the Lord Ruler's here in our snack, and he's saying, I know what's going to happen if I make the wrong choice. I got to be strong. I can't take this power for myself. I've seen what will happen if I do. So, that's, I think, the one kind of thing that I wonder if he has, is he already a Mistborn here or an Alamancer? Because if he's been burning gold, maybe he does see what will happen if he does, right? Like,
interesting.
that's kind of some stuff that he could see in that situation, right? If he trips out on
the
gold,
the future sight,
or what other thing is going on with him where he's able to see what will happen in the future. And now, is it something that happened, up in the mountains once he got to that cave opening or whatever? I don't know, but clearly he's had some kind of vision, or has some kind of understanding of what's going to happen if he takes the power for himself. Yeah. And in our perspective right now, it does seem like he's taken the power for himself.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get too so far.
Yeah.
I'll say it that way. Yeah, definitely seems like it. Smacked off a guy's face.
Yeah.
Yep. He's pretty strong. Yeah,
Strong guy.
It's a good snack, but I'm here for
mealtime again.
Meal. Yeah,
gotta go. We're leaving the chalet. We're going down into town, and gonna see what we can cook up here. And so, another, I think, excellent chapter. And Vin, we're in her perspective here, and she has all these thoughts of things that Kelsier had said to her. I can only promise you one thing. You gotta trust me. You trust me enough to jump off the wall, and I caught you. You're gonna have to trust me this time. I'll catch you. And so she's out, kind of floating in the mist, right? She's outside of their new hideout numero 2, and she's like literally hovering above it in the mist, kind of out of sight, just trying to sort through what just happened. And she's thinking, like, I trusted you, like you betrayed me, and you said, like, your crew had no betrayals, but what of this, like, this betrayal? And she's thinking, why does any of this matter anymore? Why does anything matter? And she's bringing up what Kelsier recently just said to her, that she needed to learn about friendship. And she's like, well, what about you? You didn't even fight him, right? She's sorting through all these emotions, and she's, she's playing the events back in her again of the Lord Ruler striking him down. And she's thinking, man, the survivor, Kelsier, he just died like any other man would. And so she's hurt, she's grieving, she's trying to make sense of it, something that doesn't make sense, right? Like, why would he do this? Why would he just stand there and not even try? And she's got all this stuff with Reen, like, Reen at least was honest with me, right? Like, he told me he was going to abandon me. Like, you never told me that, Kelsier. Like, you just led me along. And she doesn't want to do this anymore, and she's just she's spiraling the drain. And so Says calls up to her. He's can't see her, but he's kind of down below on the rooftop above their safe house, and she's like, "Yeah, like, what is it?" And he's like, I'm sorry, but I just was wondering where you are. It's kind of quiet tonight, and it's a mournful night. Hundreds of Ska, we find out, had been massacred following Kelsier's death, and hundreds more had been trampled as people were rushing to like avoid the deaths. And so, Vin's saying it like, we probably saved fewer from the carts than were actually killed. So like, what was it? Was it even worth it? Like,
Right.
and Says is trying to keep her on track. Like, hey, yeah, like evil people, that's what they do. And she says pretty harsh things again about Kelsier too. Says of like, I was wrong. He wasn't a good man. He was a liar. And Says like, well, I mean, maybe, but maybe he never had an opportunity to fulfill the plan, and like, or maybe we don't even understand what his plan was, right? Like, and she's like, you sound like you believe him, and he says he does, and she's like, how?
Yeah,
And he's
I
like,
like this.
what is belief? What is faith if you don't continue in it after failure?
That was beautiful.
Which
I love.
I think
I love this
it
part. Yeah.
sums up faith and belief and hope kind of perfectly, right? Like, you, even when times are rough, times are down, it's difficult to get through. You still have to have it. Like, if you don't, then like you're missing the point.
Right.
And Vin's like, nope, Kelsier doesn't even deserve it, right? Like, she's just, again, very extremely upset. And they kind of go back and forth on this a little bit, and we learn that Says is going to have to travel north soon, back to where he's from, to where the keepers are hiding out. He needs to tell them what's happened here, pass along all that knowledge so it's retained. He needs to tell them about everything in the logbook, everything about their history and their ancestors that he had learned about Rashek, that kind of stuff. And Vin's, just on the train, right? Like, literally driving the pity train of like, yep, he's going to leave me too. Of course he'd go. Like, and he says, oh, I'm going to come back. And she's like, yeah, sure you will. Just like all the other people in my life have come back. Yeah, right. And he then slowly says, Mistress, like, do you hear something? And Vin's like, no, what? And then she's like, oh, wait, I do hear something. And she peers over the rooftop, and there's a group of men down below, about 10. And she's like, well, that's weird. Like, what's a thieving crew doing out? And it's this guy, right? Like, this normal guy. And he's waving to people inside the buildings, inside to maybe a tenement or just a house. And he's like, come on, come out. Like, don't fear the mists. Like, didn't the survivor himself name himself the Lord of the Mists? Like, the mists give us power. They're going to protect us. And so more and more Ska are like leaving their homes and coming out, and like the group is just growing and growing. And Vin's kind of shocked. She's like, go get everybody. Yeah. And so everyone comes out. We've got Club, Spook, Dachshund, Breeze, Ham, and Says, of course. And, you hear this guy saying like, like your friends, your children, everyone you love, like they lie in the street dead. Like, who's going to bury them? We're not going to let the Lord Ruler bury them. We're going to bury them with our hands. And people are like, yeah, Lord Kelsier, like, they're getting amped up. And, hey, he fought for us today. Like, he slew an immortal inquisitor.
Yeah.
And then someone's like, but then he died. And then it's just silence. And then the leader of this group, I mean, good on him. Yeah. And what did we do? We just stood there. There were thousands of us. And no, we just watched. We just stood dumbly and let him die. We watched him die.
True.
And then someone says, or did we? I think it's him still.
Yeah.
What did the survivor say? That the Lord Ruler could never really kill him? Kelsier's the Lord of the Mists. Is he not with us now? And this guy's like, go tell your friends, go tell everybody. Like, I tell you the truth, Lord Kelsier appeared to me this very night, and he said that he would always be with us. Are we going to let him down again? And they're like, no. And like, so Docs is just like, what even is going on? And like there's pockets as they kind of look out over the rooftops of like torch lights coming on. But in the midst of like, clearly small groups nearby that are coming out and kind of having the same revelation on different like sectors or different streets, like a couple streets over.
Yeah, it's kind of words spreading, catching on like a fire.
Yeah. That's a great analogy. I like that. And so the flame is spreading, and the embers have certainly been fanned here, right?
Yeah,
and
taking
so
hold.
You know, Doxson says, "You insane genius," and Kelsier, this was his job, right? It wasn't about the ATM and the army or the nobility. Like, this was his job. We were never gonna topple the empire, but an entire city. That's what we're gonna, that's what's gonna do it. And Sazed brings up, the religions and the religion Kelsier always asked about, and telling him that, this same religion that he would ask about, that it was because their believers had something they felt passionate about, something or someone.
Yeah.
Like, that's what kept them going.
Oh, this reminds me of something else Sazed said a little bit earlier too. I just wanted to call it out. Okay. This is a good spot. But Vin and him are talking right before this kind of starts, and before he says he has to go home, he says to her, "I'm gonna collect this religion, and I'm going to store it." She's like, "What do you mean? Like, he's just a man. Like, we knew him. Like, he's not a guy. He was not a religion. Like, he can't be." And says it's like, I think many people in these religions like were just people. And I really like that. And then that's when he kind of talks about going back to Terrace and like to his people. But yeah, now we're kind of seeing like it's definitely. I mean, I think it's definitely catching on. Like, these people are seeing him almost as this holy figure. I saw him tonight. Like, what does that even? Right. What does that even mean? And we'll have to read and find out. But yeah. I think no, I'm loving it. And Breeze is just kind of incredulous this whole time. Like, he's like, this is stupid. Like, why wouldn't he tell us? So and then we find out.
Yeah, and then we find out. We read, and now we found out that Doc's kind of, it's the light bulb's gone off, and he knew that we would never agree to this, and that basically for this to happen, Kelsier was going to have to die. And Breeze is like, I don't get it, I don't buy it. Why even bother us with us? And Vin kind of has this revelation, and she says, "Docs, where are the warehouses that Kelsier rented? The ones where he held his informant meetings?" And Dox is kind of looking at her funny, and he's like, "Well, they're not too far, actually, just a couple streets down." And she says, "Show me." And so everybody kind of rushes off. A couple people stay back, I think. But they rush to this warehouse. She smashes the lock, and they get inside. And sparkling inside, weapons, swords, helmets, staves, all glittering in the light. It's like a silvery hoard. And Vin's like, this is the reason. He needed the Renault front to buy weapons like this for this very night, for what's going on tonight. And they hear something in the back, because Ham says, like, why gather an army? Like, was that just a front too? And Vin's like, I guess. And just out of the ominous darkness, someone says, wrong. And they're looking in the back, and it sounds like Renault. Renault's back, right? And so we're looking in the back, and Doxson knows right away. And he says, "Show yourself, creature." And he's holding like a lantern high up. And this guy, who we know very intimately, says that he needed the army to provide a corps of trained men for the rebellion. Yes, it didn't kind of quite work out like we wanted. That's only one bit of why he needed you. He needed the noble houses to fall, the garrison to leave town, or else the Skaal would have been slaughtered. And Ham's like, wow, he planned this all from the start. Kelsier knew that the Skaal weren't going to rise up, that they'd been beaten down so long, and so he understood they never would rebel, not unless he gave them a new god.
Yeah.
And Renault says yes, and he steps forward. And Vin gasps, because it's not Renault standing there, it's Kelsier.
What?
Craziness. And Ham grabs her before she could do anything and says, "Careful, it's not him." And the creature looked at her, and it's got Kelsier's face, but the eyes are all wrong. and it doesn't have a smile, and it just seems hollow and dead. And it says, "I apologize. This was to be part of my plan, and it's the reason he originally got in contact with me. I was to take his bones once he's dead and appear to his followers to give them the strength and the faith to, like, basically rise up tonight." And Vin's like, "What even are you?"
Yeah.
And he's got his face shimmered and became transparent as like she's talking to him, and it's like this gelatinous. Gelatinous, thank you.
Yeah.
A gelatinous skin, and it reminds her of a
Mistwraith.
And a Khandra, the creature said. And
correcting her.
Correcting her. And he says, "A Mistwraith that has grown up, you might say."
Oh my god. So
that's a big reveal.
It's a big reveal, dude. Yeah, it's super cool. It's kind of connecting this concept of a Khandra, which we knew very little about, and the Mistwraiths from earlier, which we haven't seen in a very long time. But yeah, she does a little review here about the Mistwraith scavengers, creatures that digested the bodies of the dead, stealing their skeletons and images. Yeah, so the legends are even more true than I thought. So pretty awesome. Pretty awesome reveal.
Great.
Now you can see why I was so excited, every time.
About Mistwraiths.
Yeah, well, the Mistwraiths.
What do you think that is, man?
Yeah, and the Khandra and stuff, and I was just like, what are those? Oh, good catch there. Huh.
Yeah, you did it good.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's awesome. I love how he did it. And yeah, I feel like, hopefully you didn't see it coming.
I did not.
Tried my best to keep my cool.
Yeah, you kept your cool, buddy. And so this Khandra is saying, hey, this whole time Kelsier's, yes, he's using you, but he was also training you. He needed a bureaucrat and a politician and a general. And, there's a new nation that's going to be born here, and he needs men of your talents to lead. And he points to a paper that's on a table kind of nearby. And he says, "That's for you to follow. I have other business tonight." And so
he's kind of naming each of them, Dachshund, bureaucrat, right. Breeze, politician, Ham, general. He's he's just carrying out the plan. I love it. The Khandra is just not missing a beat here.
Nope. He knows the plan. He's clearly the only person that was in on Kelsier's plan from the beginning.
Yeah. It's so cool.
And Vin's thinking, well, well, what's going on? And this creature doesn't act anything like Renault or Kelsier. It just seems passionless. And Khandra turns to her, and he's got this small pouch, and she says, or it says, "Hey, he asked me to give you this," and he drops it into her hand, and then he walks out, and it leaves. And Breeze, they all kind of start towards the table, and they open what ends up being a sheet of paper. It's a map of the city. It's the copy from the one that Marsh had sent, and it's got some words on the top. And it just says, I'm just going to read it. "My friends, you have a lot of work to do, and you must do it quickly. You must organize and distribute the weapons of this warehouse. Then you must do the same in 2 others like it located in the other slums. There are horses in the side room for ease of travel. Once you distribute the weapons, you must secure the city gates and subdue the remaining members of the garrison. Breeze is going to do this, and you're going to march on the garrison first. Then you're going to take the gates in peace. There are 4 great houses that retain strong military.
Chapter
we don't
9.
want... we don't. We don't. They're marked on the map. We don't want an armed force other than ours in the city. We are. Dachshund remains behind while these initial strikes happen. More and more Ska are going to come here, get gear. Breeze and Ham's armies, they're going to include the troops that we've trained. And you'll need to make certain that the Ska get their weapons and that clubs can lead the assault on the palace.
Clubs.
That's a big shock.
Yes. Yeah,
and
I like that.
The soothing stations should already be gone. Renault had delivered those orders before he came here.
To assassin teams. We didn't even know about these assassin teams.
Well, we did because wasn't it the the other thieving crews?
Yeah, okay. Those are the assassin teams. You're right. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, all right. I dig it. Yeah, then we did know. I just I was excited.
That's okay. I'm excited that you're excited.
Hell yeah.
And Breeze, we're going to need his soothers out to encourage people and to, encourage bravery. And he says, I think that's everything. It was a fun job, wasn't it? When you remember me, please remember that. Remember to smile. Now move quickly. May you rule in wisdom.
I mean, what a profound way to end it.
Epic.
And then, like, just remember to smile. I mean, like, our last view of Kelsier is him, like, with his face, like, mostly blown away. But our first view of Kelsier is in the fields with the ska, standing up and smiling. And, like, it just gives me chills, dude. Like, it's so awesome. So, yeah. Man. Yeah, and then everybody's like, Ham's like, clubs? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and everyone's shocked. And he just, like, rolls up his pant leg and shows him his scars. He's like, yeah, how'd you think I got this? And just, like, walks off.
Yeah. He's very clubs. I love clubs. I love me some clubs. Not a man of many words.
Well, and as Kelsier says, there's always another secret, like.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Totally.
And so, Vin, I should say Breeze is very excited. He's like, can't believe that, like,
loving it.
he manipulated people better than Breeze did, like Breeze himself does. He's like, this is amazing. Like, the economy's collapsing, the nobility that are going to survive are going to be in open warfare. Like, he showed us how to kill the Inquisitors. Like, and, as far as the Lord Ruler, and then, like, eyes kind of turn on Vin, and she looked down at her pouch in her hand. She opens it up, and she's got some ATM beads, and then a small bar of metal wrapped in a sheet of paper. It's the 11th metal.
Damn.
And she unwraps the paper, and we got another note from Kelsier.
Oh.
And so I'm pretty much going to read this one, which is like what we wanted, right? Like, he didn't even mention her.
Like,
her and Says were left out.
I know. Yeah, totally.
And so you're like, what the fuck, Kelsier? But here it is. Your original duty tonight was going to be assassinate the high noblemen that are in the city. But you convinced me that maybe they should live. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
you just hear him talking, you're like, God damn it.
I know. It gets you in your feels.
Yeah,
and you're like,
sure.
He says, I could never figure out how this blasted metal is supposed to work. It's safe to burn. It's not going to kill you, but I can't get it to do anything useful. If you're reading this, I failed to figure it out when I faced the Lord Ruler. I don't think it matters. The people needed something to believe in, and that was the only way to give it to them. Please don't be angry at me for abandoning you right on the nose.
Calls it like, I love it.
I was given an extension on life. I should have died in Mayor's Place years ago. I've been ready for this. The others are going to need you. You're their Mistborn now.
Yeah.
You'll have to protect them in the months to come. The nobility will send assassins against our fledgling kingdom's rulers. Farewell. I'll tell Mare about you. She always wanted a daughter. And so, like, when I read this is what got me, when she's like, the others are going to need you. You're their Mistborn now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, come on.
It
Like,
got me good, dude. It got me good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's good.
I'm a Misty boy right now for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
It was awesome.
And so she's explaining what's in the note and just like, hey, he doesn't know how this metal works and he doesn't really know how to defeat the Lord Ruler. And, they're just kind of like, Dox is like, yeah, but we've got all these people that are going to fight him. Like, we got this. Like, it's going to, we'll tie him up.
Yeah.
We'll tie him up.
We'll
I was
tie
like,
him up.
okay.
Yeah, the guy.
Good job, Dox.
I know. It's like, I kind of struggle with this. I had a feeling you were going to call it out when I was rereading it. I was like, he just slapped that dude. Not only like his face off, but like knocked him like yards away.
Like he bitch slapped someone to death with one
slap.
One
slap.
It's
that was
crazy.
it. And like spears, nothing could stop him. Like I'm worried about him. I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the plan here.
I am too. It's not that great. And so Doxson just moves right into he moves into manager, which is good. He starts to send out orders. Let's go, let's run messages, and everyone starts to scatter. And Vin is kind of near Sazed, and he's smiling at her, and he says, Sometimes we simply have to wait long enough, mistress. Then we find out exactly why exactly it was that we kept believing. There is a saying that Master Kelsier is fond of, and she said it, there's always another secret. And
gosh,
she's thinking
I
like,
love
well,
it.
but everyone had something to do except me. Like I was supposed to assassinate noblemen, but like he doesn't want me to do that. And Seiza's like, well, yeah, I mean, they have to be neutralized, but not necessarily murdered. Maybe your place was to simply show Kelsier that. And she's like, no, I got to do something. And she's frustrated, and she grips the empty pouch, and it crinkles inside. And she looks down, and she opens it up. And there's another piece of paper inside, and it's a drawing that Kelsier had shown her, a picture of a flower.
It's Mare's.
Something she had never seen before, and it was Mare's. He had always kept it with her, and she was always dreaming, or they were always dreaming of a future where the sun wasn't red and where plants were green. And then looks up.
She's
she
ready.
Says, bureaucrat, politician, soldier, and there's something else that every kingdom needs: a good assassin. Which, like, I don't know if all the kingdoms need assassins. I mean, like, but I can see why this one would.
This
and
one
so,
does. Yeah. This one
she goes off and she starts
just
breaking
down in vials of metal.
Yeah, she downs metal, ATM as well.
Yeah,
and which
couple beads.
She's breaking off the stone heads of arrows, and she's getting ready for something, and says it's like, hey, like, mistress, and she continues on, and she's pulls up some armor, and that's got the large rings, like
chainmail.
The chainmail. Well, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. That's weird.
I got you. Rings of interlocking metal. Yeah, chainmail.
So she's pulling the chainmail apart, and he's again like, "Hey, Vin, like, what are you doing?" And she walks over to the large trunk. And there's a bunch of powdered metals there, and she fills her pouch with a bunch of pewter dust. And she says, "I'm worried about the Lord Ruler." She takes a file from the box and scrapes off a few flakes of the 11th metal. She eyed it, and then ends up swallowing the flakes with a gulp from her flask. And she puts a couple more flakes, in one of her vials, and she says, "Surely the rebellion can deal with them." Says, like, he's not strong without all of his servants. And Vin's like, "No, you're wrong."
I think he says,
I think you're wrong. She rises up. He's strong, says. Kelsier couldn't feel him, not like I can. He didn't know.
Yeah. Well, because like she was talking earlier, how she could feel the soothing even through her own copper cloud. She's been able to feel him through like different things, and it's been different. It's part of the things that made her different than Kelsier, and like something we've talked about a lot, where like, there's something special about Vin and her ability to pierce copper clouds, for example, and do other things. But she's definitely very aware and is able to size him up, I think, a little bit more appropriately. What I'm getting at. So what'd she do?
Well, Says is like, "Hey, where are you going?" And she says, "Within the palace complex, there's a chamber protected by soldiers and inquisitors. Kelsier tried to get into it twice. Tonight, I'm finding out what's inside."
Oh, yeah, dude.
And that's it. End of 35.
Carrying
Great way to start
mantle.
chapter, or part 5, I should say.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, I cannot wait to jump back in to the story here. It's just... Oh, man.
So that chapter, Kelsier dying, I think I half expected it, like I said, and so it didn't really catch me in my feels when I read it. Like, I wasn't, it just didn't do it for me for whatever reason. But then 35, like his notes to them, like, that's when I was like, golly, you got me, Sanderson. here.
P.S. I loved you.
Yeah. It's a great, yeah.
He got us with the P.S. I love you. God damn it. Bastard. Yeah, it got me in the feels too. I love this part of the book. It's really powerful. There's a lot of love like put into these characters and their personalities, and like at this point, if you've made it this far with us readers, like, I'm invested, and hopefully you are a little invested too. And I use that word intentionally for multiple reasons, and which we'll find out over the years, but on our journey ahead into the Cosmere. But yeah, it's so great, and Kelsier is like my first favorite, for a while, character, and of course, like other characters have become my favorites over the time, but I just loved Kelsier. So yeah. R.I.P. and and like just so excited to see like Vin, you know, like could just fall apart here, and that's not who she is. Like she is like, you know, I think one of the things I really like about Sanderson is just he writes really good female characters. And it's something that like drew me to Robert Jordan's books too, and I think why Sanderson ended the Wheel of Time like really well. But like in a lot of other fantasy series that I've read, like just the you know, I don't know if it's just because these guys what their deal is, but the characters are never as strong or just as well done as these female characters, and Vin is just one of them. She's definitely up there in my top favorite characters of all the Cosmere. She's not going to back down. She is determination and grit, and she's gonna, you know, she's gonna be the party's Mistborn, you know, at the party if you like she's here for it. So
yeah,
I love it.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. I actually had a friend of ours who listens to the podcast. You know him, you love him,
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, what Joe said.
He was bringing up. We were talking about books. He had come to visit us recently, which is very nice.
Oh, nice.
And we talked about the pod and the books and kind of some different stuff going on. And he brought up the. So he's not as far as long as we are. He's not caught up to say.
Sure.
Like he I think he was renting the book maybe from the library, and then he, like, you know, couldn't get it renewed or something. And but what I did do. So you had actually given me a separate copy, if you remember this.
Oh yeah, totally. He got.
So
that.
I had you know, my original copy. I had, like, you know, I was tabbing it out and pages were falling out because I was sitting here, and I was loving it harshly, and it showed. And so you had given me
Burn
a
it too much
paperback copy. Yeah, you know, just so strong. So you had given me basically a replacement copy that you had, because you have those lovely leather-bound editions.
Oh my god, yeah, it's just been a blast.
And so when he was here, anyway, I gave him that brand new copy you'd given me and passed on to Love.
Nice.
And so I was like, hey, you can continue reading. But anyway, so when he was here, he's like, hey, I haven't gotten this far yet, but does the book pass? And I hadn't ever heard of this before. The Bechdel test.
Ooh.
Have you heard of this?
No, tell me more.
And so I'm reading this off Wikipedia. So it's also known as the Bechdel-Wallace test. It's a measure of the representation of women in film and other fiction. The test asks whether a work features at least two women who have a conversation about something other than a man. Like, that's the test. And so if it basically passing or failing the test doesn't indicate the overall representation of women in the work, but it's an indicator of the active presence or lack thereof of women in fiction. And it's like supposed to call attention to gender inequality in fiction.
Right.
And so at the time that he asked me that when he was here, I was thinking back and I was like, yeah, I mean, most of the time that she was talking to the other women, it kind of was about boys. And then I was like, oh no. But then I was like, no, there's no way. Like, this is going to get to a point where I think there are going to be other, like, you know, like strong female characters, and they're obviously not just going to talk about boys. So I was like, I think we're passing the test. I think this first book's a little like
Vin, dude, like 100%. I think that's I like that. That's a good little
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's legit. I think it does, but maybe like not as much as others will and do going forward. And it's between a woman and a woman. It has to be, essentially. Is that the test?
Yeah, cool. Like do two women talk about something like in the fiction, and it's got to be something about other than a boy. Like,
yeah, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it definitely happens, like Kliss and the whole like intrigue of the court and everything like that. Like, I think Ellen is just like that relationship with Ellen is really just a vehicle and not like what she, you know. Yes, she cares about it, but I don't think it's like everything for her. Yeah. But yeah, no, all right, dope. That's a good test. Well,
so it was good to hear you say that, like, Sanderson writes strong female characters and characters that you can get invested in and that you want to follow. And so, like,
absolutely.
And like, I didn't have any, I think, doubts leading up to this, or even after Joe brought that up of like what that test was. But like it's just good to hear you kind of reconfirm that for me as the new reader who doesn't know much and really, I mean, you've seen some, some interaction with Vin and some other females, but it has obviously she joined an all male crew,
right?
Who
I was thinking
an
like,
all male
army. There's a lot of
like
males. There's definitely a lot of males in this one for sure. Yeah, I mean, maybe Renew is not really male or female because it's definitely referred to as it. So if that counts, maybe we're cool.
But
there.
what did they talk about? What did those two people, her and
Renew talk
about?
Yeah,
Kelsier, a boy.
Oh yeah.
No, just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. No, yeah,
so,
it's and like I think I will stand by that. Like there's so many of my favorite characters in the series are these awesome women and different female leads. They're so great. So
that's cool.
It's a lot of fun.
So just a reminder, everybody, we do know the Blob's name, right? The Mistwraith turned
Khandra.
Turned Khandra. His name is Orsur, we believe, based on
we believe. We haven't gotten it confirmed yet. Yeah,
we had talked about some contracts and things like that in the past with him. We had I actually just edited. I think it might have been like 28, 29 maybe, and we just talked about that in that episode. So,
well, what do you think about that conversation now after like really seeing it fulfill? Like, hopefully it was enriching. That was my hope.
It's good. Like, and if you don't go back and reread the book,
the contract, right? How are you going to get that?
You're going to miss it, right? Like, you almost have to go back at some point, and like, I mean, I'm sure someone out there can really pick all this up and hold on to it, but if you're not either over analyzing every little thing or not going back and kind of rereading it or at least revisiting it like we are, I think you're going to miss it. So.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's awesome. Oh, hell yeah. Well,
but I mean,
good thinking, man.
Great. I think great 2 chapters. Super sad that we've lost Kelsier, but amazing to see the brief dip, right? And Vin and everybody and like the Ska that are murdered and all these things that have happened right after that. We see this high of, it's happening, super low, and then we're building back up to, hey, like Kelsier didn't abandon us. Like this was his plan all along. Like he left us a roadmap to follow. Like
instructions. It was perfect.
And so it's cool to see, and it obviously makes you want to read on.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready to read on. I'm definitely ready to find out some more here with the listeners. So. Just so happy to be here, buddy. Good reading. That was fun.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's good, and like I said, I'm excited to move on to 36, I should say, and 36 and 37 is what we'll cover next week. So read those, check those out, and then
2 episodes of season 1, Shards and Shenanigans.
We
might not go with the season route. We might just call them books, which is what they are. But I'm just shameless plug.
Nope, we're excited to be doing it, and please, tune in for the last couple here and just finish strong with us.
Yeah, finish strong. Burn your pewter. We got this. We might feel a little bit of drag when we're done. It's been a long ride, but it's been a lot of fun. So, I love to do my my shout outs, and got some shout outs to the pod here.
Hit them with it.
Moms. Shout out moms.
Mommy.
Yeah, we know we got some moms out there reading, and we appreciate that. Shout out to our partners supporting us during this podcast. It takes a lot of working time, away from other things we could be doing. So it's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate the support there. Shout out to our families and our friends and our fans.
Bam, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see like people just step up and like support us, and it's been a blessing. So I'm very honored, and it's a pleasure to get to like do this stuff, and then that reward was kind of unanticipated. So I'm really touched. Yeah. So
Nice.
anyways, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep, some cool sibs. And again, friends, Joe, big shout out this episode. Thank you so much for
we had a Joe
coming out and seeing us and
interlude.
talking to us and getting back into it and reading it through. So happy to see you doing that. And
Thanks, Joe.
Just, some of our other friends and some of the kind of random fans we picked up along the way, or listeners who we've kind of shouted out kind of throughout this process. We appreciate you listening and engaging with us. And like we said, we started this thing to just kind of continue on something that we had started together, and it's super fun to be able to do it and kind of share with all you. So thanks for being here.
It's been a lot of fun. So
it's awesome.
We really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm ready to keep on reading. Hopefully I don't have to just read the whole thing all tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so I'm stuck reading 36 and 37 like the rest of you guys. Christopher can do whatever he wants. Lucky him. But
no,
I'll be slumming it with you guys down at 36 and 37. So
we have a good schedule, guys. Don't worry, Kyle's not have to wait a whole week. we're
recording
Tuesday. Yeah.
So read on, guys. Find out, and we will catch you next week. Thanks for listening.
Yep. Catch you on the Ironsides. Take care, everybody.